Hello viewers, 4DIYers here with another tutorial video for everyone. In this particular video here, I'll be doing a demonstration of how to lubricate your window mechanism on your vehicle. This applies to both manual and power windows. I will be showing you both examples in this video. Over time, the existing lubricant can become contaminated with dirt, losing its lubrication qualities, and eventually causing excessive wear on certain components. Once those components fail, they will require replacement, and depending on the vehicle, this can be costly. Towards the end of the video, I will also be doing a giveaway, so be sure to stay tuned for that. You will need to remove a door panel on your vehicle, and the removal process can vary between models, so it's best to do a little research specific to your vehicle. For this, I am using a 2001 Toyota Tacoma as the first example. When working on your door, it's a good idea to either turn your interior light off or disable the door switch to prevent the battery from draining. As a rough example, first locate any fasteners which may need to be removed. On this door panel, there are two Phillips screws hiding behind plastic caps, which are removed by using a small standard screwdriver. Next is popping up the window switches. A nylon trim tool is a great item to have when removing door panels as it won't damage the paint or trim pieces. Disconnect the wires on the rear. The door handle also has a Phillips screw that needs to be removed. Then the handle will need to be slid forward to disconnect it from the door. You may need to remove the cap by the mirror area. Unclip the panel from the door. There is typically reusable snap clips around the perimeter. However, this can vary between vehicle models. The Ranger, which will be the second example, has a slightly different mounting method. Disconnect any wires in the rear. Here we have a speaker wire left. And the door handle can be left connected to the door, but we will need to push it through the slot in the panel. Once off, place the panel somewhere safe. Doors typically have a vapor barrier in behind the panel as a form of protection against moisture. If this pulls away, they're usually held in place with butyl tape. If the butyl tape is no good, you can remove it and replace. I do have a video on this, so be sure to check it out. I did remove the two plastic threaded screw inserts, which are only snapped into place. While your windows do have seals, they don't protect 100% against moisture or foreign contaminants. Dust and water can make its way inside that door, eventually contaminating any grease on the window mechanism, losing its lubricating qualities. The speaker was also removed to help gain access inside the door. It's just held into place with Phillips screws and an electrical connector. I didn't disconnect the battery as we will need to operate the window. The window switches were reconnected. Turn on the key and then operate the window. Once you have it in a workable position, turn the ignition off and remove the keys. Window mechanisms can vary between vehicles. If your style is different, inspect the mechanism to see where the movement occurs, along with where any remaining lubricant may be. When the mechanism is moving, do not stick your fingers anywhere near it. Once you have it in the right spot, remove the key. Some vehicles can still have their windows operated for a few minutes after the key is removed. So press the window switches again to determine if this is the case, or disconnect the window switches. Using a cleaner from Keg Laboratories Value Series, model number DDW V611, this can be applied to a paper towel, a rag, or a light spray on the surface to clean away any old lubricant or dirt. This product evaporates fast and is also safe on plastics. There is usually nylon wheels which ride inside the track. These can wear out and in some models can be replaced. It's a good idea to inspect any of these components for damage and replace as needed. There is two wheels here, only the one is visible. Using DeoxIT's L260D grease, this is great for mechanical applications as it's infused with their D100L, which helps dissolve and prevent corrosion on metal or alloy surfaces while providing a strong bond. It is resistant against heat, wear, water, and oxidization. Apply this within the track, both on the bottom and top where the wheels ride. You should be able to see the wear marks where the mechanism runs, so the grease needs to cover those areas. Now moving the window up and gaining access to the half-moon gear. It's hard to see on this door design. The motor uses a smaller gear which drives a half-moon gear to operate the window. Again, using a degreaser and paper towel, clean away any old lubricant. And finally apply new grease to the gear. Depending on how old that gear is, the teeth may be sharp due to how it's worn, so be mindful of that. Finally, you need to finish up cleaning the rubber tracks on each side of the window. Using a brush of some sort, either for detailing or a toothbrush with a vacuum, clean the rubber tracks to remove any dust. These typically don't have any lubricant, but with the age they can dry out and shrink, causing some resistance when the motor is operated. There will be tracks on the front and rear of the window. Then move the window down to clean the tracks on the upper portion of the door. Using DeoxIT's X10S Precision Lubricant, which can be used on metals, rubbers, and plastics, this is a fine instrument oil which doesn't gum up and has a long life, and the needle makes for easy applications. Apply a couple of drops inside those tracks, both on the inside and outside of the door. Only do this on the vertical portions. When the window is operated, this will move the lubricant around. The window can be operated a couple times to ensure it is functioning correctly. After the lubricant works around, you'll immediately notice a quieter and smoother operation, along with ensuring those components have a longer life, saving money in the end. Once done, reinstall the vapor barrier and any other components which were removed. Clip on the wire connectors, clip on the door panel, and finish up with any screws or trim pieces. Now moving on to a 1998 Ford Ranger. This time around, this has manual windows. While a manual window has a similar operation, it doesn't have an electric motor, so there's less components to fail. It can still use a refresh on lubricant, making its operation much smoother and easier. First, removing any screws in the panel. The first set of screws aren't hidden behind any trim pieces. This particular window crank requires the cap to be popped off, and a torque screw is hidden behind that cap. Window crank designs do vary between vehicles. Remove the trim pieces on the door panel using a nylon trim tool, then disconnect the power mirror connector on the rear. There is one screw hidden behind that panel that needs to be removed. Instead of clips, this panel on the other hand uses slide tabs which holds the panel in place. Simply pull the panel straight up and remove. As you can see, there is also a vapor barrier on this door which needs to be pulled back to gain access to the window regulator. The window crank can be slid back on to help operate the window regulator, gaining access to those components requiring lubrication. Just to give you a peek behind that track so you can see the other side using a mirror. This track will need to be cleaned on both sides. Using Keg Laboratories Value Series degreaser, applied to a paper towel and then remove the grease. This will need to be cleaned on both sides. Operate the window regulator if needed to gain access to the different areas. As you can see, this mechanism is slightly different than compared to the Tacoma. Do the same for the horizontal track. As you can see, the design doesn't use wheels either. Moving on to the half moon gear, this design isn't as easy to access. You can see the gear through the cutout in the sheet metal. You can clean the gear using a paper towel and degreaser while operating the window crank. If this was a power window, I wouldn't recommend sticking your fingers anywhere near that mechanism. If the motor does get away, you can get severely hurt if your fingers get caught up in that mechanism. Next is using a vacuum and brush to clean the vertical rubber tracks to help remove any dust or dirt. Do the same on the opposite side. Unfortunately, with these tracks, they aren't accessible inside the door panel as compared to the Tacoma. Apply DeoxIT's X10S Precision Lubricant only to the vertical rubber tracks. Once the window is operated, this lubricant will move around throughout the track, improving the ease of use. Next is applying DeoxIT's L260D grease to the metal tracks inside the door, both on the horizontal and vertical mechanisms. Apply more grease to the half moon gear through the door cutout. Once done, it's a good idea to operate the window, allowing that lubricant to move around and ensure everything is working correctly. You can then reinstall the vapor barrier, clip on the door panel, reinstall the screw, reconnect any electrical switches and reinstall the trim pieces, then finish up with any final components such as screws here. After a few times, you will notice the operation of the window will become much easier and quieter. As for the contest giveaway, one winner will be picked and you will receive DeoxIT's X10S Precision Lubricant. Due to the shipping policies, this is only available to US residents. In order to enter, you will need to follow the link in the description below. Enter there, and there will be various options to increase your chances of winning. A winner will be picked 2 weeks from today, so please be sure to keep an eye out on your email, and I'll also make a post on Instagram and Facebook. New videos released every week on my channel. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It's a huge help to me, and leave a comment below if you found this tutorial helpful. Don't forget to follow my social media pages such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep an eye out for my latest videos. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to also hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching.